see the Akali go onto Jensen. It is one potential option, but right now they are hovering the Hecarim towards the top side, but instead it looks like that they're going to go for something a little bit more aggressive. The Aatrox considered pretty lane dominant. I would imagine that they want that into something like the Vladimir, perhaps can struggle against the Sylas, who's very in your face, can trade very aggressively early on, but we'll see what G2 look to try and match up against Team Liquid.
Yeah, definitely expecting, Impact to trying to be playing that into the Vladimir. Certainly can be a good matchup, I think, in the early levels. Before 100%. Vladimir does get some levels, pick up some more CDR, that is when you can start dealing more effectively with the Aatrox. You also have to remember Deathbringer stance, that passive auto attack does apply, his own form of grievous wounds there, reducing both the healing and the shielding. So that is going to be fairly effective in those short trades. And Aatrox, the tether as well, does actually go through the pool. If that is already connected, you will get yanked back. So we'll see if they actually want to play up towards this top side of the map, because if Smithy is not up there, I doubt that Impact can pressure the matchup enough to really kind of punish this Vladimir pick.
And a lot of questions. I think Smithy, the biggest catalyst for how this game will play out on the side of Team Liquid, where he chooses to put his attention. When in doubt, we always assume it's going to be towards the bottom side of the map, but both of his lanes with leads can accomplish great things in this game. So much will be answered in the laning phase, and the draft, I feel like to a certain degree, going as expected with these picks. The Aatrox really feels like the only curveball.
I feel like what we're seeing is, as you're rightly, I mean, when his champion pool was so pinched, you're now looking at what next steps could he go for. And I think Aatrox can make sense because I think it's pretty self-sufficient. The changes to Aatrox haven't come through yet. We're still on 9.8, which means that he's a difficult champion to dive. Once he hits level 6, of course. And against the Vladimir, it's going to take time for him to ramp up.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. Our first game of the day. Team Liquid versus G2. NA versus EU. A rivalry as old as time. If you've been playing League of Legends, you must know about it. I'm ready to see how it shapes out. Team Liquid currently 2-0. G2 1-1 after a tough first day. Will the scores even up, or can TL pull ahead with a 3-0 start to the group stage?
So I want to keep my eyes on the junglers, as I often do in the early game, because we already talked a lot about how Xmithie and Jankos will be a big part in who enables their team to get the early game lead. And expectations are that Xmithie will look to play towards the bot side of the map. You have a Galio Lucian, a very easy lane to be able to set things up, but you are playing the Sejuani as well. And something you have to be very careful of is going up against someone like an Olaf. If he matches you and he gets that counter gank off, it could end in disaster.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's going to be, really dangerous. And I think as a result, Smithy is going to be trying to do something that he really does excel at, and that is tracking the jungler, avoiding the jungler, placing vision so his lanes kind of know where he is. I think Smithy is one of the most talented junglers in NA at really having a good sense of where the enemy jungler is on the map. He's very well known for being able to anticipate where they could be, even with imperfect information. So for him, it's more about trying to match farm. If you're in a situation where you're hitting 6 on Sejuani and Olaf hasn't killed your lanes yet, you're going to be feeling very, very good.
And it feels like both junglers in a comfortable position. Smithy happy to be the guy who is the counter ganker, who tries to read the map, who tries to be there for the plays, and Jankos. We've seen it in the Elise. We've seen it in so many of his picks. Early game is his MO at the moment. And now we're going to see a cheeky early invade here, not spotted out on vision. So G2 will be able to take the blue buff away. We talk frequently about top to bot side jungling, but this ward going to give away the start. And Xmithie will now have some good information on Jankos' path.
One of the things I actually love about this from G2 is even though it's spotted by TL, you're kind of pushing Smithy into this vertical jungling on the top side of the map. He's doing it on Impact's side, which is mean he's not going to actually be down by Doublelift, by Core JJ, which is that lane they more want to be able to play towards and gank for.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Isaiah. Like, that Team Liquid as a team has this priority on playing towards the bot side of the map, and this means that their jungler is now forced to play on the top side. So this aggressive lane of Lucian Galio is forced to play a little bit more defensively, and arguably it's valuable for G2 to have been spotted out, because then it forces this invisible pressure onto the duo of Team Liquid.
And then kind of puts the ball into the court of Xmithie as well, because now with that topside presence, you have to wonder if he's actually going to take the time, if he is going to pay some attention and try to shut down Wonder. Difficult to gank Vladimir, but only level 2, so some small opportunities in the early game.
Yeah, and I mean, if Wonder is pushed up, that certainly is a lane you can attack, and I don't think that Smithy is just going to willfully ignore that if those opportunities do arise. So we will have to see Wonder playing fairly careful around this, because he's still fairly pushed up in the lane, and Smithy does have the opportunity to come up here behind him.
Impact still level 2, might be waiting for the level 3 here to come out. Engage on the bottom side though, Dredgeline going to connect, taunt from 4JJ, Doublelift content to back off and try to trade back, but the action will continue on the top side. Smithy stepping forward, immediate Fool going to come out there from Wonder, not interested in trying to trade back, just wants to back off.
And this, honestly, the situation is so good for G2 because it was a full clear from Jankos on Smithy's blue side of the jungle. So he took away 3 camps, and all Smithy was able to actually get was the blue buff. Then he went up to actually take that pressure.
And now the trade just continues to extend. CoreJJ going back in, but the Ignite is ticking. Perkz wants to get the damage down, but Mickey grabbing first blood with the Ignite. Huge play on the bottom side.
Big pickup for the duo of G2, finding first blood onto Doublelift and CoreJJ, who, to the eyes of many fans and analysts, considered one of the best duos in the tournament, but the action isn't slowing down as G2 look for a play in mid.
Jensen potentially in trouble, has the dagger to jump back to. The Shuriken will take him to safety as well as the Shroud, but Yanko's already laying down some early pressure.
Yeah, that was really well played by Jensen to avoid it, but the kill on the bottom side is so big for G2. You have this Kai'Sa lane who is now out to a farm advantage, who is winning in that 2v2, and not only that, but they took 2 summoners off of TL, so they have summoner advantage as well.
And such an uncharacteristic play from CoreJJ as well. This guy so far at MSI, in the group stages, has not died. He's had perfect games so far throughout the group stages, and he was considered North America's MVP. A lot of confidence gets put onto this bot laner, so for him to get caught out of position like this, definitely uncharacteristic.
Yeah, definitely the case, and kind of absorbing that hook there for Doublelift. Doublelift, though, maybe could have just dashed it and had CoreJJ simply back off. Either way, nicely played there by G2. They did have the level advantage on the all-in, as Perkz was up 1 level there, it looked like on Doublelift, and that was just really well played.
And early in the draft, we thought the Galio was a good sign for CoreJJ. You can see so many support bands leveled against him leading up into this game. As we see an extended trade on the top side, but CoreJJ often the heart of this team, often the leader in so many situations, and going behind early, definitely not what TL fans expected.
Yeah, certainly not what they want, but I would say, you know, CoreJJ is more known for kind of the supports along the lines of the Braum, the Tom Kench, and those are really his bread and butter. We'll see if he is going to be able to excel in more of the kind of playmaking style that I see this support Galio as.
Now, however, we do see a bit of extended trade in the mid lane. The Conqueror choice for Sylas, not something that we always see, but has been very powerful in a lot of these extended melee trades. The healing from it coming in clutch against the Akali.
Yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of Sylas into Akali. One of the things that Sylas can do is when you're in the middle of a minion wave, even if Akali is in Shroud, his passive ability can still hit the Akali, and he has a lot of skill shots that can continuously damage her, and he has a surprising amount of sustain with his W as well, which means he often just out-trades and out-duels and may even lock down the Akali.
Caps going forward, Jankos is here as well, does manage to land the stun in the Shroud. Invisible, but I don't think it's going to be long enough. The flash out, clutch from Jensen. Jankos wants it, he's going for it. The axe will come through, will connect, and Jankos takes down Jensen.
Oh, really well played there by Jankos. It was all about if Jensen could dodge that or not, and he wasn't able to. Jensen getting pressured very heavily here by Jankos. Multiple ganks in the early game to this lane, trying to help out Caps and get him ahead.
And after Jensen's performance in the previous 2 games, you can understand why they might want to shut down this Akali. Jensen has been incredibly powerful in the first day of the group stage.
I remember how we talked about coming into this game, and what the analyst said was that the junglers were going to be pivotal in who finds the early game leads, and the split map decision that G2 make to force Xmithie up to the top side enabled this bot lane of G2 to play aggressively, and has made it harder for Jensen to play the way he wants to in this matchup, giving Olaf all this freedom to look for these plays and help G2 get an early lead.
Yeah, and I mean, I think attacking this Ignite lane is so big, because when you are going at this guy and you're pushing him back to base, you're actually getting a kill on him. He doesn't have teleport to just come back to lane and pick up that farm. So when he dies with the wave at his turret, that is all lost experience, lost farm. You can see as a result, Caps is up a level because of all this pressure that Jankos has put on. So, you know, that is kind of the trade-off there, and Smithy has not been in position to help out with Jensen either time.
Now the bot side, though, CoreJJ just threatening an engage here, but it's not just the level, it's not just the individual 1v1 difference, but the pressure in mid lane now compounding to additional advantages. Jankos able to take that blue buff away, and now the team set up to look for a dive. Caps has the Akali ult stolen. They can fully commit for this if they want to. Jankos will be spotted out. Ping's gone down on the Caps. Pretty sure they know the situation. They will back off, but G2 happy to play for the tower plates.
Caps had priority in mid lane. G2 were aware that Xmithie was likely going to be on his red buff because it spawned at the same time as the blue. So G2 maintaining control over the bot side and just doing what they can to mitigate the pressure of Doublelift and CoreJJ, the duo that would often help get early leads for this Team Liquid squad, and G2 are doing whatever they can to shut them down.
Yeah, they certainly are, and so far, so good. You have to say for G2, they're out to a very strong early advantage. Yes, the gold lead is not massive, but everything has been going their way. It is Jankos creating the plays. It is Jankos creating a lot of the pressure, and you know that in addition to that bottom lane kill was very big. And this is just a really nice play here from G2. You land the chains from Caps in that shroud, and then Jankos goes for the chase down.
I thought this was going to be another international Jankos moment when he flashed under the turret. There was a bit of
I saw it in my head, man.
There were a couple of hesitation, but he managed to land the axe. And Jensen, he did what he could in that situation. Good utilization of the stealth to buy time, but I wasn't sure if his ultimate was available at the moment because he ended up not using it. So in the end, he couldn't get on.
Yeah, that was definitely really close. You know, like it's easy to watch the replays and say, okay, we could have done this or that. You know, maybe in that situation, had Jensen actually turned around and got the ignite off as the axe kills him, I think he probably does get the 1-for-1 there, and then that becomes more worthwhile. But it's so hard to know exactly how much damage those turrets are going to do to Jankos.
So close to the duel coming out in the mid lane, but not going to be the focus area. Double lift now. Engaging into the trying to turn it back. Perks has been caught out. We'll try to use the ultimate to safety, but Impact grabbing the kill. Immediately the World Ender comes out. Going to use that movement speed to chase down Mickey X. He's going to try to Spider-Man his way to safety, but I don't think he's going to get the chance. Smithy is here as well. That's going to be 2 kills picked up for Liquid. They're donating yet another one to Impact. That's going to be huge.
That was a huge teleport from Impact. Making plays on the bottom side. Has been doing pretty well up in that top lane. Now down to the bottom lane, gets the flash out of Perks, takes down both of those kills. And this is going to give Double some time on the turret. It's going to allow Smithy to take the dragon. And that is a really big swing for TL.
And even though Impact is not on the gangplank, he still finds a way to support the bottom side of the map. He held onto the teleport. Wonder used it to get back into lane. So the moment G2's bot lane tried to go in for the all-in trade, that is when he sees this opportunity. So look at the minimap right now. He's positioning in a way so that he can safely TP towards the bot side of the map. So the moment G2 overextended, they can create a 3 versus 2 situation, and Olaf isn't here to support.
And that Q flash was actually so clean from Impact, anticipating the flash from Perks. He actually flash follows, nails him with the sweet spot, knocking him down. And Impact, so much credit from him is deserved, you know, to have this playstyle, right? He plays so well towards that bot lane, helping out his team, you know, not prioritizing his own individual success as much and really putting a lot of emphasis on putting his teammates ahead.
Coming into today, this is the matchup that we were looking at. It was Wonder versus Impact. Now, of course, Impact yesterday 2-0 has some dominant stats. Wonder always the guy that you look at G2 to just destroy opponents on the big stage. But this game, yes, he has the scaling Vladimir, but Impact, despite being banned out, despite those champions, those comfort picks being taken away, still impressive to see him make such a huge impact.
And this is one of the big questions that we had coming into not only this game, but this day for TL, was can Impact stand up against the likes of Wonder and the Shy?
It certainly was. TP being invested towards the bot side of the map. G2 trying to make another play.
Calling on the roam down. Jankos immediately going to run in onto the Sejuani. The stun mark is still going to be active, though, waiting for the ultimate to expire before he's going to reactivate there. Caps is here as well. Has the Akali ulti stolen away. Not going to be able to hit with the abscond or abduct there. Now dashing forward with the first stack of the Akali ult. Looking for a second one. 4JJ is here. The Gallia ulti is available. Mickey, though, still ready to commit to the play. Perks on the backside, looking for a way in. Xfinity going to get taken down, deleted instantly. And Jensen just going to back away here. The stun's still going to connect. Jankos flying forward. Going to burn the Akali ult to make the safety. A second charge available, but Impact on the top side is doing damage to that tower and is going to grab plates in exchange.
Yeah, Caps putting a lot of pressure now after kind of being put ahead by Jankos. Jankos and Caps have been spending that pressure down in the bottom lane, and this is similar to how IG had success, or rather they had success against SKT. By putting one lane ahead, they then take that pressure, they move it around the map, and this is something that G2 does so incredibly well. They don't just sit on leads, they pressure those advantages, and they use it to help their other lanes get even further ahead.
Yeah, Caps is a big fan of roaming around the map and looking for opportunities, and this time round, once again, G2 looked for a dive onto the bot side, but TL were in a much better position to respond. The problem for them was that Wonder could then start to collapse from the top lane. We may see another fight here, but no opportunity for Team Liquid. But yeah, Wonder, he was already moving his way through the river because he had priority up towards the top side of the map. So while initially things looked pretty good for Team Liquid, they recognized, okay, this could end up really badly for us, so we need to disengage. But now you notice Team Liquid is split up, and that allows G2 to go for this commitment. So 3 members collapsing down onto Xmithy. He doesn't have the flash or the dash available. Actually, I think Caps even interrupted the dash just in front of the wall there, enabling G2 to pick up these kills and gain a little bit more priority back into the game.
And I think that's just a bit of poor play, honestly, from Smithy. You know, walking too far forward. Once the ultimate is already committed from Olaf, you've already just, you know, dissuaded the dive. You've already been down there to protect your bottom lane. You don't really need to go any further. He wanted to get something more, and as a result, G2 ends up coming out on top. A double lift now, waiting for Perks.
Perks potentially caught out here. here is going to try to dash away to safety, but the Coaling is coming out. Perk's now set to fall. That's going to be all she wrote. Doublelift finding the solo kill.
Big pickup there for Doublelift, lying in wait. Had the Summoner spell advantage, had the mana advantage, and had the damage advantage as he finds the kill onto Perk.
Now we'll see the 2v2 in the mid lane, though. Mickey X coming over the wall with the Hex Flash. Not going to connect on Jensen, but it may not matter. Galio's in, but it's too little too late. The entrance might just have to be an exit. Core JJ running to the hills. G2 taking the play.
That was sick from Mickey X. The Hex Flash over the wall, then the stolen Sejuani, but Wonder in trouble.
World Ender now coming out. Impact. That's going to find the kill here. Wonder with a clean flash to try to make it to safety. The healing now coming in. Impact has to be careful. Wonder, does he have the time to wait this one out? The kill going through for Impact, but the tower firing back.
The solo kill from Impact, but Wonder able to trade back there using his flash, but G2 still coming ahead across the map. Locking down Jensen, bursting him out before he could get the Shroud down was so huge, and that CC chain was massive with the stolen Sejuani ult. Mickey X following up on that.
But these are the kind of plays you want to be seeing from Team Liquid. You don't want them to be falling behind in this early game. You're seeing these individual outplays, still looking for opportunities, going for fights, and the fact that Impact was able to find this solo kill into Wonder, yes, it ends up being a 1-for-1. He's now sitting as a 3-1-0 Aatrox, and they need to keep being proactive to make sure that G2 don't snowball this lead that they've already started to.
And it's a scary position to be in because it is already a 2K lead, Vedius. On top of that, the Herald now picked up by Yankos, and we can look back at this very close exchange.
So, something that you alluded to was this Hex Flash over the wall as Alan. While Mickey does land the Q, it was a tactical Q to get behind Jensen, land the knocker, so that he could continue setting up the CC for the rest of the team. And of course, the Olaf going to be resistant to all of that as well, so they could chase down Xmithy and convert it into 2 kills.
Yeah, I mean, so much of it really just was about the stolen Sejuani ultimate that Caps had. That into the Nautilus ultimate meant Jensen never got off his Shroud. He's burst out before he can actually fight back. Otherwise, that could have been a pretty solid play, but look at this. I mean, this is really impressive from Impact. He is TPing to the bottom lane while Wonder is TPing to lane. He has now not only solo killed Wonder, but he is taking a turret without any jungle pressure. This is certainly a very impressive showing from him, you know, in this game against G2.
The question always felt like it was going to be how hard is Impact going to fall down? Is he going to be a liability? But now instead the question is, what else can Impact do on the top side? How much more can he get done with this kind of big lead in his hands? Has the Black Cleaver finish, has additional cooldown reduction coming in from the Caulfield's Warhammer, and things look pretty good for the Aatrox for now.
I mean, it's quite interesting where the goal disparities are starting to build up, because expectations were that the 2 solo laners for G2 would have the advantage coming into this matchup, and then the bot lane for Team Liquid would be the ones to get that early game lead. And even though G2 were very focused on building leads towards the bot side of the map, Doublelift is actually sitting on a gold lead right now. Impact is the one that is ahead up towards the top side. The big discrepancy is in the mid lane, where Caps has been applying loads of pressure to Jensen. Olaf has been consistently coming mid and trying to shut this Akali down. So you're now looking at Caps and Yankos to be the big carries for G2 to try and maintain control over this game.
Yeah, you certainly are. It's a bit unfortunate for G2 that 2 of those kills did go to Mickey X, and you certainly would have wanted those on the carries. And you know, that's part of the reason that some of these carries for TL are still, you know, pacing their opponents. You know, TL certainly down in gold, but Doublelift at a very strong point in the game. This Lucian, I do definitely favor. You know, in the earlier stages, 1-2 items is monstrously strong. So Perks certainly wants a little bit more time to scale up, and it's going to be up to his teammates who are already in a good position to buy him that time. For Caps and Yankos to kind of bridge the gap.
Doublelift looks like he's even working towards that Black Cleaver as well, so even further facilitating towards that kind of early spike. And it's likely that they want to try and use this Aatrox, who's already very ahead. I wouldn't be surprised to see Team Liquid start to group up, try and force these fights around the Dragon ahead of when Wonder really hits that big power spike, because while he does have the Zhonya's, it's really that Spellbinder. Once that comes in, maybe even the Death Cap, this Vladimir really starts to kick into gear, and Team Liquid likely want to force fights before he can get to that point.
And I think Team Liquid has to be painfully aware of that clock that you play on. Anytime you face against a good Vladimir, you're always nervous about that nightmare late game team fight scenario, especially when you have something like a Lucian who has to be up in your face in the front line. But it feels like for now they're in an okay spot. Only 17 minutes into the game. A 1K gold lead. It has gone down a bit, and TL does have double Drakes. This Herald, though, we're going to see if this can be used to break top lane tower. How much more can it get is the big question.
Yeah, well, they're definitely going to get top lane turret. I do think TL should be in position to defend the tier 2, so likely it won't be much more than that. But, you know, another thing to always consider here for Wonder in this game is the amount of crowd control that is on the side of TL. So he does have to make sure that he's executing his dives very well, that he's pooling appropriately early, not greeting out for extra Qs, things, you know, a mistake we saw Caps fall prey to yesterday. Because there is the taunt, there is the Sejuani Swanee ultimate, there's knockups, there's even the mini stun for Macaulay and tremendous amount of burst plus double ignite. So it's not as easy for Wunder in this game as it is in some others. So we want to see him really executing cleanly and making sure he's getting off both the pool and zonies in these fights.
But I think it's good that you bring up Caps because there were question marks as to how well Caps was performing. Yesterday, he wasn't the center of attention for his team. He had a tough lane versus Rookie. But now against Jensen, we're kind of reminded of that level that Caps can perform at when he's given a bit of jungle attention, when he has a favorable matchup, because we see the 1-0-3 scoreline. We see the significant difference between the two mid laners in gold, and now with a Sylas who has so many viable ultimates to steal, you have to think the job does get a bit easier for Wunder as we move later in the game.
And they're even sending Caps up against Impact right now, making the matchup a little bit more even between G2 and Team Liquid, rather than having the Vladimir struggle against this Aatrox. And he's now working towards what looks like the death stance as well, so he's going to have a little bit more sustain and durability. In fact, they're actually just going to keep Wunder towards the bot side. His teleport is still unavailable, and I'm surprised at this because you would expect to send Wunder up towards the top side because the dragon is about to spawn, but I suppose given Caps does have the teleport as well, they're fine sending him off to the other side lane.
Yeah, and they want to reset Caps here. He just finished another item, so being able to send him back to base, get that power spike before any potential fight would break out. But certainly it is a very, very strong point in the game for Impact. He has his Death Stance now. He's on 40% CDR with the runes, plus the 30 on his items. I think this is about peak for Aatrox, really, especially in compared to the rest of the game. He's going to be really, really strong right now. We'll see if he's going to be able to execute on this. I think for TL, this is a pretty good moment to take some fights. You have your 2 items on your Aatrox, 2 items on Doublelift as well. Gunblade is already complete for Jensen. He has a stopwatch there, so there's a lot of playmaking potential and a lot of big fight potential.
And Impact now just going to try to find the 1v1 on Caps. Caps in trouble. The World Ender coming back. He's trying to trade back. Has a lot of healing in his kit as well. The Conqueror now procs. Mickey on the way up. First to the roam is the G2 lineup. World Ender comes out now. Traded back. Impact will be forced to retreat for now. They're waiting for that time to tick down, but in the meantime, it means TL gets free access to this dragon. Will grab it uncontested, but Impact forced to flash to safety. Yanko's now going to try and chase him down. G2 see the strong member, and they want to eliminate him from the map. They're going to cut down Impact. Yanko's on a killing spree.
So the trade comes out between the two teams. G2 go towards the top side, TL invest in the Drake. They're now sitting at 3 Drakes so far in this game, and Jensen is getting free time towards this bot tower. So even though G2 do convert this into a kill onto Impact, overall, Team Liquid are the ones that come out with the map advantage.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to be feeling pretty good about this. I'm not sure that Jensen's going to be able to actually finish this off, and look at Caps going in.
Hungry for blood, using everything to go and stealing the Caps is truly terrifying.
Fantastic solo kill there from Capson. Note how there was no hesitation whatsoever. He sees the Akali, he knows he can go for the outplay. There's not going to be any support. Caps showcasing why he is the best in the game.
Yeah, that was sick from Caps. Takes his ult, and then you have as many dashes as the Akali.
Yeah,
the Akali had Shroud down. Jensen was using it for the extra energy for the wave clear there, so no Shroud was available. Used the ultimate to retreat, but Caps is already on top of you. He used the ultimate proactively, so his second charge will be available faster than Jensen's also, and that was just very, very nice stuff from G2's mid laner. Caps certainly showing up here against DL.
And we talked about how, given how the bot lane fell a little bit behind, we needed to see Caps step up and be the carry this game. And look at how he does it. Uses the E into chains to close the gap, then has the Akali ultimate to continue the chase. He then has the passive stacks combined with his EQW combo, just absolutely beautifully done. And not a hint of remorse on Caps' face.
No, he's smiling. He knows. He's feeling himself, and you got to respect it. The execution damage is significant from Sylas. Difficult for Jensen to win out. And difficult spot now for TL to find themselves in. Yes, the Akali can be more relevant when to move late into the game, but needs a lane where she can safely farm.
And that's been the problem, right? G2, I think, has been much better at moving around the map and punishing these side lanes. They have been much more proactive. Smithy has really been a pretty big non-factor so far this game. Jankos has had him on the back foot, and ever since Jankos put Caps ahead, they have been using this kind of tag team duo to move around the map, to get vision, and to punish TL when they're trying to pick up these side lane waves.
And while Team Liquid were in a very good position earlier on, you're now looking at Caps level 15, 2 items fully completed. He can sit in a side lane pretty much uncontested, and G2 are doing what they can to enable him as much as possible. They were littered with control wards, and now they're pushing that vision deeper in towards the top side of the map to allow Caps to just continue pushing on this side lane and making it harder and harder for TL to answer.
The setup is clear for Baron. They will have to answer that TL, of course, with the Mountain Drake advantage, which can be so difficult to enter the pit when you have the threat of the Sylas. Impact, strongest member of the team, will now push in. We'll try to do some damage to Jankos, force him out of the area. The Olaf ulti will fall away soon. Will they try to find the re-engage? No, Team Liquid just going to back off. They say they know it's a vision game for now, want to buy more time. They want to get later into this game.
Yeah, and I think that's the correct choice. If you over-chase there, if you commit forward, the Nautilus was in the area. Kaisa can always follow up with an ultimate once Nautilus CCs someone, so certainly was the ability to have that turned around on them. They need to know that they're on the back foot and really take positive fights here, but it's the G2 solo laners looking to pick up a kill onto Impact.
Impact immediately forced to use the World Ender, now needs to run. Core JJ's ult coming out as well. Quick 2 ults taken away. Difficult spot now for TL and Impact to be in.
You can see how much control G2 have over TL's half of the map. Impact can't even walk through what should be an area of control in his favor, but without the risk of getting collapsed on by a bunch of G2 members. So TL have to be very cautious about how they move through the map and where they look for opportunities to try and claw back control.
And I think that's such a nice play from G2 because Impact is, really the strongest member on the TL team right now. He even has the Executioner, so his 1v1 potential is actually pretty decent against that Vladimir. But by forcing his ultimate out there, there's no way he can actually move aggressively forward. He has to be on the defensive once again. And G2 have been so good in these side lanes, so we'll see if TL can ever really kind of arrest some of that control back and pull their way back into this game, because for now, it is such a massive advantage for Caps in the mid lane. It has been that advantage for Jankos in the jungle, and TL are just kind of trying to withstand this onslaught.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, just look at the gold gap that was between them. 4,000 gold in favor of Caps. Level 16 is really the big break point for a Sylas because his ultimate cooldown is sitting on something like 9-10 seconds, so you can use it multiple times in a single fight. But now it's Jensen looking for a
trying
play.
to get something back here in the mid lane, but Wonder is there as well. Jensen now in trouble, dashes to safety. Good use of the stopwatch, but it may not be enough. Wonder now stepping forward, grabs the kill on Jensen. Xmithie running for his life. TL desperately need to turn this fight, but Wonder's burned so many cooldowns. Maybe they can force it back on the Galio. TP, Cap will come in on the backside. Double has to be careful. Which ulti is he going to take away immediately? The Sejuani right into the middle of the team. Cap's buying his time. So much damage coming out. Perks is still alive. Perks still able to throw damage down on the backside of the fight. But TL turning it back. Impact. Big use of the abilities there. Trying to find a way to get a kill, but it's just a trade. It's a 1-for-1. Cap won't start getting it back though. Goes golden, buys a bit of time. Now on the retreat, Yanko stepping forward. G2 looking to rout him. Double if taken down. An extended trade, but in the end, G2 coming out on top, and Caps is not done yet. Stealing the Galio ultimate, pulling it away. Can now retreat back with his team.
It's the hero's exit for Caps there. He is styling on them at this point. Caps running over this game. And that fight, so much of it coming down to how much was committed to trying to take down Perks. They're not able to get him. Jensen, decides to go in onto Perks here, and because of how behind he is, he doesn't quite have the damage to actually finish off Perks. Look how close this is. Perks, though, able to cleanse the Ignite and move back. Then, when Caps goes back to base, he TPs in, the fight is really going to start to turn around.
Yeah, exactly this. The 3 members of G2 just buy enough time for Caps to eventually join the fight. The thing that makes this so difficult for G2 is the fact that they're still playing under a tower. So while they would love to commit much harder, there's still this tower to deal with. So Hooks overextends a little bit, Impact finds a good pickup, but it's Caps that really swings this fight in G2's favor. Diving multiple towers, going into the enemy base, continuously stealing away these ultimates, ends up in a big teamfight win for G2.
Ooh, and now Jensen just has to back off. Level 16, you mentioned it earlier, Vedius, but the freedom to steal so many ults in the team fights and the freedom to pressure Jensen anytime he wants to in the side lane. Caps, though, still willing to play back, not going to go all in aggressive for the kill. TL with control on the top side of the map, making potentially in trouble. Immediately the knockout comes out, man advantage here. Perks now locked up, Perks is going to get deleted instantly. TP coming to the backside though. G2, despite the man disadvantage, want the fight to keep going. Impact has the TP available, will they commit? TL may just back off here. Unstoppable now for Yanks. The Olaf, not quite as threatening as he once was. Impact turning to join the team. Wonder caught out on the side, only going to ult one member, focused on the 1v1 with Jensen, but the rest of the team is there. Cap trying to find a pick on the backside of the map. The taunt has been used. Options to protect the backline running out for the side of TL, but they will just retreat here in the end.
Still a very good pick there for TL. They do get 1 kill. They also get the teleport out of Wonder, and they are able to disengage the fight. So TL playing well from behind, but it is certainly Caps you have to deal with, and that is why they're trying to fight away from him, because Caps is completely uncontested right now in the game. I mean, look at the item difference between him and Jensen. It's 3.5 items to 1.5 items.
And notice how the map is being set up right now. While TL do find that pick, and they're able to get that shut down and kind of relieve some of the pressure from G2, the bot lane is being pushed into this tier 2 tower. The top lane is being pushed in as well. And This was just a bit of an overstep from Mickey, which Doublelift is immediately there to capitalize on. Fantastic ultimate from Xmithy, but we don't have time. There's another fight.
That's Cap's going to keep going in for the trade. Trying to wait, not going in quite as aggressively as he sees the World Ender going. Caps might be in trouble, dashes through, dodges out there. That's going to be massive. Missing a third proc to the Dark and Blade. Impact running out of time here. Caps going to try to take him down. Perfectly timed. Caps now unstoppable.
Yeah, Caps is just running over this game at this point. Impact playing the fight out pretty well, but Caps able to actually use the Akali's ultimate to dodge out the third hit of that Darkened Blade from Impact, and that sealed the one-on-one.
Why so many teams in Europe have struggled against G2, a triple threat team on their best day. Have to respect Caps, have to respect Wonder. You draft for one lane, you might lose out somewhere else. Caps, an absolutely monster performance thus far, and TL doing what they can to hold on, to buy a bit more time, fishing for that kill on Caps, that crucial shutdown.
G2 now making their way into the base of Team Liquid without Impact there, without that extra source of damage. They don't feel confident in their ability to win the fight. We've already talked so much about it. Jensen is extremely far behind, only level 14, hasn't even completed his second item yet. 4,500 gold behind his lane counterpart. Team Liquid need Impact in these fights if they want to stand a chance. And honestly, with how much damage he was doing with the Executioners, I thought that he could actually win out in that 1 versus 1, but Caps with the fly moves, moving around the map, doing a fantastic job. So now we see the Baron dance begin.
Yeah, and I think TL made the right call to just give up the inhib. If you try to fight that, you're just going down, but Caps now going in.
Wants to blow up Jensen. Jensen, can he make it out safety? But the rest of the team now fishing for a fight. They are going to be take out Mickey Axe right before anything gets started. Yanko's though barreling his way into the middle of the team. The knockup is there to keep Kurtz out of the back line. Wonder in the midst of everybody manages to kill Doublelift. Xmithy now the last man standing. Caps trying to destroy the team, taking on both solo laners. He's already knocked Impact out of the fight. He's looking for Impact as well. Going to continue the Aatrox ulti. Going to come up. He's still alive. Caps comes through. And Parks gets the triple kill.
And once again, G2 come out on top in the fight. Team Liquid, they made the right decision right there. They thought that with Caps in a 1 versus 2, this is our opportunity to win, but Wonder hit that break point. The Death Cap was completed on the Vladimir. Wonder gets the shutdown onto Doublelift, and with the team fight win, G2 are looking for the end.
And this game has been the story of Jankos and Caps. Mickey as well to start the fights, but now Jensen the last man standing, and this is gonna do it. EU versus NA, it was 4-4 and MSI leading up to this. Jensen tries to get one back, hopeful to get something here in the midst of the fight. That's the 2-man taunt. Cap's gonna try to end the game. It could just go out here. Can they do it? They can't stop it. G2 come out on top.
Such a well-played